everybody, so new review for you guys today, which is about the upcoming action film Greenland. So this is the latest film where Gerard Bitler either saves the world or just a disaster movie starring him. It's kind of like his own niche thing now. I mean, he has like his own subgenre where he does a lot of these films. But I like a good action film, I like a good disaster movie, so I'm always on board to just check these out. It is a virtual screening. I did notice that like literally right before this, it was delayed till the fourth quarter of 2020. So that's always a great sign, I guess. But that's why we're talking about it right now, because I just saw the film. The Greenland follows a family who's fighting for survival, making their way to safety to a government shelter as a planet-killing comet races to Earth. You know, things that we've seen from this genre before, although this film definitely is much more of a character drama mixed with a fetch quest adventure, more so than the disaster movie genre, because it's kind of like a background element for the most part. It's not really like full-blown, over-the-top action that you would expect based on some of the stuff you see in the trailers. As far as a lot of these films in this Gerard Bitler genre go, I think this is one of the lesser ones. I really didn't enjoy a lot of this film. The film doesn't really do a good job at keeping your interest whatsoever. I mean, it's really poorly written. It's filled to the brim with loads of cliches that a lot of these action films use. The actual disaster elements of this film are actually enjoyable when we do get to see them, although a lot of them have this really ugly orange tint to them. It's really distracting, and I mean, I think they really could have done without that. It just feels super distracting, but a lot of the movie itself is quite ugly. I mean, the director of this is also the same director who brought us Angel Has Fallen, and I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the direction in that either, so I guess that does make sense. One of the things that this film feels like, it feels like a film that could have easily clocked in at about like a little under an hour and a half or 90 minutes, but then the screenplay itself was stretched to fit a 2-hour-long runtime, and I didn't really feel like it needed to be that, because they crammed a lot of action in towards the very end, and by the end I was kind of checked out at that point anyway, just because all of the characters in this film are terrible people. That's probably like the biggest flaw I have to say with this Greenland film. This is a film loaded with really dumb character drama. You don't really like any of these characters, and you really don't really want to see any of them live either. You know, whether it be the main characters or any of these random characters along the way during this journey that we come across. Because like there's one really weird one where like this guy is actually like a really nice dude, and then like out of nowhere he changes his mind and then abducts the child. Like that is like such a weird character turn. Like I do get you want to show that humanity kind of just how terrible it is once the apocalypse kind of stuff goes on, because you see that a lot in these sort of disaster end of the world apocalypse movies where once it's down to the nitty gritty it's kind of survival of the fittest. But it did feel natural here, it didn't feel earned, and that goes for our leads as well, because Monica Baccarin and Gerard Bitler, their acting is fine. For the material they're given, their acting is fine, but they just really have no chemistry whatsoever as this married couple, and we don't really get a lot of time to really develop their characters as a couple, because a lot of the movie is them separated on their own separate fetch quest, eventually coming together at a certain point in the film. But then we kind of have this weird drama thrown in at the end where they kind of are trying to patch up their marriage stuff, but it's just not believable. They don't have good chemistry. None of the emotional beats you get from these characters as the film progresses, they don't feel earned, because these characters have never really been given any sort of depth or personality to them. But unfortunately, I think that Greenland is another completely forgettable film in this sort of disaster movie action genre. It's definitely one of my least favorite of all these different Gerard Butler-led films. There's just not a lot here that's new or interesting. I think I'm going to probably end up forgetting about this not too long from now. By the time this film actually does come out in the fourth quarter of 2020, whenever it does, because as of right now it doesn't have an official release date anymore. I don't think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with this. Maybe you'll get a little bit more out of it if you see it in an actual theater as opposed to when I saw it on my TV at home with the virtual screening. But still, I don't think you're going to get too much out of it. This is definitely something that you could check out maybe on like TV. Like it's one of those kind of things where if you're watching it on like Netflix, or if it's just like randomly on TV one day, maybe check it out. But otherwise, I think there's no point in like renting this or, you know, actually spending a lot of money to watch this on any sort of format. But those are just my thoughts on Greenland. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below what you thought of the film when you check it out, whether it's already out in theaters overseas right now, or if you're in the US like I am. If you saw it at the virtual screening, leave your thoughts down below, or if you're seeing this later on in some other way, make sure to leave a comment, because I talk about all things movies here. And also, just to leave on a question, what is your favorite Gerard Bitler film in this sort of category? I mean, in the Fallen films, Geostorm, and then, you know, this and a couple others. There's a lot of different choices, so I'm sure everyone's going to have different answers. But as always, thank you so much for checking my reviews. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to like, hit that subscribe button. We'll keep doing movie reviews, show reactions, unboxings, and more on the channel. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.